Hi, everybody. Stop scrolling. Nothing's changed since the last time you looked. Spend a few minutes with us here at Day Drinking. Have a drink. Today is a really fun day. I'm going to interview Roselle Lim, the author of Vanessa Yu's, sorry, I just got distracted. Something blinked on my computer. I got distracted. I'm like a cat. Vanessa Yu's Magical Pears Tea Shop, which is a beautiful book. I'm going to tell you all the reasons why you should be reading this book, why you should pick it up. But real quick, last week I was supposed to interview Lisa K. Adams, her book, Crazy Stupid Bromance, but last week was a lot. There was a lot going on and we just couldn't do it. So we are going to reschedule that. You can look forward to that. Also, later on tonight, not on Facebook Live, but as like a special for my podcast, I'm interviewing Christina Lauren, New York Times bestselling author of In a Holidays. So that's going to be fun. I will post the links for all of the updated podcast episodes, but you can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. So iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, just search up Day Drinking with Authors. Now to the main event. My author interviewee today is Roselle Lim, again, author of Vanessa Yu's Magical Pears Tea Shop. This is her second book and I cannot quite believe it. So let's welcome Hey there.
Hi.
Hi, thanks so much for coming out to see me. I appreciate you taking the time with your super professional setup there. You're beating me.
This is my dining room. So
well, it's nice that your covers take center stage in your dining room.
It is. They're actually on glass. So it's been printed on glass and they look really nice, like much better than I found with canvas, because the husband's like, I'm going to get your book covers done. Do you want canvas or should we try this something new? And we went with the glass.
Oh, they look great. They look great. I have a bunch of questions and I'm going to take a real quick segue to say, how excited were you when you got those covers? Did you just love them?
I was extreme. Like, the artist who did it is Vicky Chu, and she did both of my covers. And I was just really excited that she got the book. And it's kind of a situation where it's an own voices cover artist. And yeah, she just really got the book. And I'm super excited to see what she whips up for the third one, to see how they like. I've just been lucky with Berkeley. The covers are fantastic.
The Vanessa Yu's Magical Pears Tea Shop, what drew me to it was the colors of the cover, which, right, for those of you watching, right behind your head, it's the kind of teal with the blue.
It's French blue. Yep, I know.
It was beautiful. Hi, everybody who's coming by. Carrie Brigda, I hope I said that right. Thanks for stopping by. I've got a lot of questions for Roselle, but if you've read the book or you have your own questions, please feel free to post them. I'm getting pretty good at paying attention. I get distracted when things flash now. So, how have you been in quarantine? Have you been able to get work done, or are you doom scrolling or stress baking?
The doom scrolling happened during the elections, not gonna lie. But on the whole, I've been okay. I really do miss like sitting in a coffee shop and writing, because I get to eavesdrop and listen to other people, and it's just one of those perks, and having like a cup of coffee and like a pastry and being out, because normally we all work usually in our house, right? Yeah. I really miss that, and I miss going out to get food. Because I live in a small town. It's a small town where the only form of Chinese food I have is like Chinese Canadian food, which is like deep fried chicken balls, and I kind of miss the other stuff.
Yeah, well, your book, it's the Saturday Night Live sketch with what's his name, Phil Hader, where he's talking about all the latest clubs in New York City. This club has it all. I want to say that about your book. This book has it all. I mean, it is exactly the book I wanted and needed to read when I read it a few months ago. But it is the book you need right now, readers. It has beautiful magical realism. It is set in Paris. Who doesn't need Paris right now? We all need a little Paris. The descriptions of food are, I mean, it is, you're hungry and I do miss food brought to me that I could not even dream of being able to prepare. So this was like a little tour of food I can't get right now. It's absolutely delicious. And there's not one, not two, but 3 romances happening in this book. So there is a lot happening that satisfies. It's kind of low conflict while still having lots of page turning conflict. I absolutely love this book. The name of the book is Vanessa Yu's Magical Paris Tea Shop. Someone just asked. So tell me, how did this book come to you? How was it created for you?
It was created, basically, I was on a call with an editor and my agent, and this was when Natalie Tan was being acquired. We were fielding offers, and I mentioned I've always wanted to go to Paris. I've never been, ever. And my agent and the editor suggested, go, use some of your advance money and just go. And I finally went last August to Paris, and I ate everything that I could eat. And I went to all of the spots that you see in the book. And unfortunately, having gone to Paris, once you've eaten the crepes and everything there, you come home and it's really hard to adjust to the standards of like pastry and butter content and everything. Yeah.
Did you see the video that went around a few weeks ago of the master butter maker in France, where it's like this it just went around, and it was just this like 10-minute interview of this man whose entire life was making French butter.
Butter.
And you're like, we don't even know what we're seeing.
But yeah, it's like when we were walking around the streets of Paris, we were in the Saint-Germain area, and I was like a child, hands right up against the glass, staring in, looking at all of the candy, the pastries, everything. Yeah, like I wished it was the first time I wished I was like a cow with 4 stomachs so I could eat more instead of just the one that I have, because my problem has always been that my eyes are bigger than my appetite. Yeah. Like I want to eat 5 different things, right? But yeah, just the food was just spectacular, and the chocolate and everything else.
Well, the setting was beautiful. One of the questions that I have, though, because there is this little element of magic. So your main character, Vanessa, kind of sees the future, right? She gets these little flashes of what's going to happen to other people kind of around her. And so you have that, and then you also have a sort of this magic around matchmaking. And then you have sort of these beautiful moments of magic that happen in Paris. How did you decide what was going to be magical, or where to put the magic? Or was magic everywhere and you had to take it out? Did you have to put in more? Like, because it's such a beautiful thing, but with too much, it would be watered down. I felt like it was just the right little, the butterflies and all those things. It was so well done.
Oh, thank you. In the case of magic, I had to think about like, what element fits into where the plot. It's always about the plot and the character. Where would it be appropriate, and how can I repeat it? It's stuff like that, because with magical realism and fabulism, you're dealing with magic that people accept as ordinary. Yeah. That you can walk by somebody who sees like this cluster of butterflies, walking with a cluster of butterflies, and you're like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm just gonna keep walking. It's that kind of an attitude, and I wanted it to be like that kind of natural thing. And for her her clairvoyance, where she can see the future, I wanted it tied to food, so that certain tastes would would be linked to certain fortunes. Like if you're dealing with a divorce or somebody being divorced, you would taste that bitterness. Like what food is bitter? That would evoke that. Yeah.
it's funny that you said that. Like everybody sort of takes it for granted. Like nobody's surprised when the butterflies come and she sort of tells the future. And then so she has an aunt that in this like great relationship, Aunt Evelyn, this great, like there was part of it that I was like, this is like Yoda and Luke Skywalker.
Definitely.
Like, there is no try not. So and she has these rules around their lives as clairvoyants, and it was so convincing. I was like, oh yeah, of course there are rules. Of course there would be rules. How did you come up with your rules?
It's kind of just thinking about the future and how we want to approach it. That we don't, like, for me, I look at the future and I think it would be great. Like if you're able to see it, I think that it's good, but it's also better that what you see can change depending on that person, whether they want to take action or not. That's the thing that I really like about that. And the thing with Evelyn and Vanessa is that they're foils of each other, as in Evelyn lives that life where she's mastered it and she's accepted and never questioned it. And Vanessa's like, I don't want this. I don't want to master it. Why do I? So they're complete opposites. And I wanted to showcase a feminine relationship that isn't mother-daughter or sister relationships, like an aunt and a niece dynamic.
Yeah, and there was one point in the book that I was like, oh, actually the romance here, and there are a lot of romances, but the romance is actually between this niece and aunt. They've got to come to a place where they're not, I mean, they have these beautiful moments of tension, and the fights were so realistic. The things that they would say when kind of backed into a corner, that seems exactly what people would say in that situation. And I thought that relationship was really beautifully done, on top of there being like a whole bunch of other aunts. Like you have the auntie culture down. How, did you pull that from your life? How many aunts do you have? And are they really so meddlesome and
they're all nosy. Yeah. On the whole, they are all nosy and opinionated, that I know that if they have opinions. They all have opinions. And it's just, it's having this feeling where you love them so much, but you don't know whether you want to hug them or strangle them. Like, because they would defend you to the death, and they would they would do that, but they would also criticize and nitpick. It's that same kind of thing, but you can't. It's like Vanessa's relationship with Evelyn, like the aunt that she dealt with the most, is kind of combative, but you can't deny that they love each other, despite the fact that they're disagreeing.
Yeah, and there's that beautiful twist with Vanessa where she made a decision a long time ago to choose her family over everything else, and then because she kind of made this choice, proceeded to kind of keep her family at arm's length, which was this beautiful push-pull and mystery around her. I thought that was beautiful.
I pictured both of them. I've always wanted something very, like with Evelyn and Gerard, I wanted something so romantic, like that long, like that slow burn thing of like a love lost. And that's what I wanted to capture, because I'm like, yes, they're older, but like that doesn't mean that all the romance is only like for young people or 20 somethings or whatever. But you can have romance, this grand, wonderful, breathtaking romance later in your life, and that's perfectly great, and it should be celebrated.
Yeah, the big grand gesture romance too. Like it's really good. So in the book, the food takes center stage, and as a person who I write romance, and whenever like you're describing a kiss or something like that, while I'm writing, I'm often like blah 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 kiss. And I was wondering, like, did you have to go back through and re-put in think descriptions of food? Were you ever like yada 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 food, yada yada cookie? Like, was it, because it was extensive, the descriptions of food. I mean, they were fully immersive. I mean, I thought that had to be challenging.
I'm weird. I don't do Mad Libs when I'm drafting. Like, I know a lot of people, they draft so much faster when you have like blank, like insert description of tea shop here, right?
Right.
I can't. I have to go. Everything has to be laid down as best as I can. The way that I draft is just I write it and then I'll look it over, read it over, see if I'm missing anything, make sure that the chapter is how I want it before I move on to the next one.
Oh.
And it takes me longer to draft a novel than it does to revise it, because I guess I'm putting that work, because I know it's basically a balance, because you could draft really quickly, but you spend more time revising, right?
Yeah. So before I went live, everybody, Roselle and I were talking, and you're actually kind of in the process of trying to change your process. you're like something here isn't working. So what are you doing now? Like what are you doing now in terms of getting work done? You don't have to tell us what the project is, just what the work is that's happening.
It's being more thorough, like writing a 3-act synopsis, and before that, writing extensive character bios. Because one of the things that I've learned, like I've been reading a lot of craft books, I just want to be more efficient when I'm drafting. I want a better draft, but I also want to try to get it and produce maybe a 1.5 draft, 1.5 draft, instead of like, garbage first draft and then go back and edit it. So all of this planning is just making sure all of the scenes hit at the right place, making sure that even when I'm drafting, I have a bullet journal that writes down the chapter, what characters are in there, what subplots are in there, so that when I go back and I look at the word count and everything in the breakdown, I know if I find a problem, which chapters they are.
Yeah, nice, smart. Yeah, I feel like my process has changed so much, and I'm now at the point where I'm like, there are all these like writing exercises where, take your character to the grocery store, and what do they buy when they go to the grocery store? Or, your character writes a letter to somebody, so all these little character nudges. And I feel like if I can nail the character, then I just want to dive in. And it inevitably, like I get to 75% done with the manuscript and I'm like, oh no. Yikes. So I fully appreciate you doing the work beforehand.
I know 75% is where I look at it and I go despair. For me, it's always 25%. I start doubting myself of what I'm doing, because it's actually starting to shape. 50%, 60%, I get into a bit of a slump going, oh my God, it's never going to end. I'm never going to finish this thing.
75,000 words still.
It is. I take a break of maybe a week. I have to, like at around the 60% mark, just to get over the blues or let my brain think, and then I keep going forward.
That's smart. One of the things that sort of happens about halfway through the book with Evelyn and Vanessa is, so Evelyn, the aunt, has opened up this tea shop, and she's loved tea, and the descriptions of the tea are outrageous. I can't believe that this tea shop wouldn't be a huge success. But then the tea shop is targeted in this sort of anti-Asian racist campaign that's kind of couched in this nationalist language. And it was completely timely. It was absolutely fascinating. And one of the things that I thought was the most fascinating about it was that the aunt who's older didn't see it as racist right away. That your young Vanessa had to be like, hey, this is racist. And I thought, what an interesting way of looking at what we're talking about, or looking at what's happening through the eyes of two different generations.
I think it's because it's the same thing that I see with my parents, that they think that this is just the way it is. People are just whatever. But when you're younger, I find that it's all about what you're reading and what you're consuming, and just educating yourself. What is a microaggression? What isn't a microaggression? Like in Vanessa's case, like I think it's just that, like you just learn to identify what is and isn't acceptable to you. Like my parents would just accept what's happening to them. Yeah. And just go, okay, well, this is what's going on. It's not fair. It sucks, but we're just going to get through it. And I find that the younger generations are all, it's not fair, this sucks, no, it's not acceptable, what can I do to change it?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a really fascinating look at the generational reality of perspective, really, about that. Like it was, and it added a great conflict to both of them going through. Your first book, Natalie Tan's Book of Luck and Fortune. So I did a little stalking earlier. You sold it, or you got it to your agent. You got your agent through a Twitter.
Yes, DV Pit. Yes, by Beth Phelan.
Explain that to people who might not know what that is.
DV Pit is a Twitter pitch contest, basically, that has been created by Beth Phelan. And what you do is you pitch your novel, and it's for marginalized creators. And yeah, I decided to participate in the first one that morning. I wasn't going to, but I figured why not. And it comes at the heels of me parting with my previous agent. And I thought, okay, since I'm going to be in the querying trenches anyway, might as well try it. And you pitch your novel with the hashtags, and I got a lot of likes and a ton of full requests. And by the end of it, Jenny Bent has been my dream agent since I started querying. And when she offered, she was the first one to offer. And I was like, okay, but you do the thing is that, like, she's like, I'm making you an offer. She's very honest about it. There's a lot we have to fix, which was true. The state that it was in, there was a lot of revisions that needed to be done. And on the call, she's like, I want to be the first person to talk to you and the last person to talk to you after you're done. So after the week,
nice. That's a nice. So
after the week is done, like, I spoke to her, and it was just, yeah, she's fantastic, like absolutely fantastic.
So for those of you who might not know, you have to like, it's an elevator pitch. So it's like, so do you remember what your elevator pitch was for Natalie Tan's Book of Luck? Like, do you remember what the line was?
Chocolat meets Amelie when a chef reclaims her grandmother's restaurant.
Nice. So something then, but then agents like it if they want to see it, and they contact. Anyway, it's amazing. So that's so exciting. And so, can you tell us? I mean, I know you've got a lot going on. What's coming out next for you? What are the next few things you've got happening?
Just for now, Sophie is coming out in spring 2022, and the title is Sophie Goes Lonely Hearts Club. Sophie has gone through matchmaking school and has come back home to Toronto. The setting is Toronto for this one. And in order to save her reputation, she has to match 7 old grumpy bachelors. And they're all in their 70s.
That's fantastic. And is that book is done? It's put away? Or you don't
is. I'm still revising it. I haven't given it back to my editor yet. It's due like early next year. But I have somebody looking through it, like line editing it, just to make sure that it's really clean by the time my agent and my editor read it. The cutest thing is that they both kind of buddy read the book, which is really cute. So their notes are like cohesive, right? So
right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, it sounds like you've been able to get some work done in quarantine. Like I find that there are two kinds of authors right now: the ones that can't get anything done, and ones that are able to actually get some work done.
Yeah, it's work for me is Sandy. I have anxiety and I have depression, so being idle is not good.
Yeah.
Mentally for me. So it's that I got to keep busy. I can't, like, being idle means ruminating, and ruminating is just will start the spiral of everything else. So yeah, I keep working. Either I've been working on the book, I've been doing some embroidery work, I've been doing playing video games. It's Netflix. The last thing that I watched on Netflix not Netflix, but Apple TV that I really love, that I would recommend to everybody, is Ted Lasso.
I just finished it too.
Isn't it so good? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You know, it takes a few episodes before you're like,
I know, but it's so cute. It's so like hopeful and like
Yes.
heart. Yeah.
It's the power of unrelenting optimism. You
Yeah.
know, like it not foolish, right? Like he kind of seems like a fool at the beginning, but then, you know, you sort of start to
Yeah.
realize that no, he knows what he's doing. He knows how he sounds. Like he's made a choice to be a ray of sunlight,
Yeah.
which is like, you know, revolutionary right now. It's so, yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah,
That's one thing.
it's such a good one. Like I was surprised and I'm happy that they renewed it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. My son and I, so my oldest is in high school, and so he's got that like half day on, half day off, home all day, like he's kind of here and there. And he and I have started to play chess, and
oh.
like seriously, like we're very serious chess players. We now we play chess and we listen to classical music. I don't know who we think we are. This is what we're doing. So we watched The Queen's Gambit.
I haven't seen that yet. I've heard many good things about it.
The costumes and like the wallpaper of the, you know, 1950s, 1960s, 70s, you know, Las Vegas and Buenos Aires, like it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Anyway, that's another good one. That's another good one when you need some help, some inspiration. Roselle, I really, really appreciate you stopping by, and I loved your book. I really encourage everybody to pick it up. It is, and I'm not kidding, like the world is hard right now, and this is a delicious little pastel cloud of delight. Like it is, you know, it's so comforting. It's a really lovely read, and it's like you get to go to Paris. So what's not to love? So thank you for it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And guys, stay home if you can. Wear a mask, wash your hands, have a drink, and read a book. Thanks for stopping by, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for